What's cracking? We've got Panagiotis and Cha-Cha. I'm just going to say it that way because easier than saying true or something like that. Makes a bit more sense. Versus Pharos in game video. So guys, welcome to a 2v2 on AOEO. The greatest game of all. NRL, please don't sue me. Sorry guys, I'm Aussie, so I think that actually was a copyrighted term here once. So we got a double Egyptian composition here from Cha-Cha, Chocho, and Panagiotis versus a Greek Norse composition. So we got game video on the Greeks, Pharos on the Norse. We are playing, what's this map called? Does it tell me in the ticker thing? No, why does it not tell me? We're going to find out. We're going to do some investigative journalism and find out the map name. Because it's one of the new maps, I believe. Yeah, this is Bandit Hideout. Okay. Yeah, sorry. One of the new maps. Fresh. Out of production. So we got these clubmen here. The spearmen. They're guarding these lookout towers. So, welcome to Bandit Hideout. And these guard towers, these lookout towers, if you capture that, you not only does it act as a huge line of sight, like a big, strong outpost in a fairly nice, convenient spot, it also generates 3 villages once per player. And that works for all players, regardless of who initially captures it. You can't get multiple villages out of it. Even if you recapture it, you'll just get the line of sight. But everyone can get the villages once, 3 times each, including teammates as they take it off a teammate. So in 2v2, this isn't 3 villages aside per thing. It's actually 6. Because really, if you take this, and I'll tell the players. So I just told the guys. Sorry guys, yeah. So I just told the guys actually how it works, because they're only fairly new to the map. And I am too. It's only fairly new, as in it's like a week old. Not even that. So I figured out in Skirmish, playing with Control Priest, if you cap it, and then your ally caps it off you, they'll generate 3 villages. Playing with Libo and Control Priest, I think it was. Anyway, so Pharos, Panagiotis, and game video have all hit age 2. Cha-Cha's actually not realized. He must have shift queued that, but not realized, or had it bugged out or something, so he's got to finish that. I was going to say, he would have thrown that down at around the same time these guys would have all started their age ups, so he's a little bit behind, not having realised that. Probably paying more attention to his scouts. Because yeah, he's pretty much got the stone he needs. He's got banking up a little bit of extra wood because he wants to throw down production as soon as he gets to the town centre. So he's not doing too badly, he's just missed a villager, really. But I mean, he's got the house space. If he just, I mean, yeah, needs to throw down a house, but he had the space to get the priestess out. Gonna be able to take the town centre. Fairly nice spot. I mean, he probably could wedge it up closer to either the gold mine or the hunt. Maybe save himself a storehouse. But even there, that's not terrible because it actually works like a wood storehouse. While Panagiotis having done the same thing on the other side. Pharos, Game Video doing pretty much the same thing as well, with Game Video's Town Center actually probably being the most aggressive, considering it's closest to everything else. So it seems like he probably wants to get the lookout tower fairly early. Chasha getting a lot of upgrades, 3 at once, double food upgrade incoming. Bit expensive to look at doing that. I mean, going one or the other is pretty much optimal, and just sticking with that resource until you run out of it, until you've got to go to the other food source early on. No huge deal though, because I've actually done it a couple of times myself when I've been put under pressure from spearmans and stuff. So it you know, it means that once this hunt runs out and he goes to berries, he's already got it, doesn't have to worry about it. Or if he gets pushed off the hunt and can't get on that berries and he's got to go off this one set of berries, he's not too badly off. Though he probably should look at throwing a storehouse down, maybe on that side. Game Video, Pharos. Pharos actually going for a great haul. He wants an early seer, I think, just to be able to get ravens, because they're a free 0-pop scout spell. Game Video going for Saris and Spearmen to start with. So nice mix of defense and attack there for the Greek player. Only real problem is, once these Egyptian players really start massing up units, he's going to need a bit of ranged coverage from the Toxotes. Because the Saris, they don't have a lot of range. Reasonable damage, but they've got no multiplier against infantry. Theirs is against range units, so they're really mainly just going to be used for pressuring Egyptians on the economy with the villages and the caravans coming in probably in a couple of minutes as well, being 2v2. But they're not really useful other than against slingers, and until you actually field Toxotes with a Norse teammate who's not going to field any ranged in H2, you're not going to have a need for Saris other than raiding. So I think Game Video is probably going to get a third in maybe and look at raiding. Pharos. Barrack Stables. Doesn't seem to have added in. Going for a quick H3. He doesn't seem to have added in dogs yet at all. Couple of camels out here for Panagiotis. He wants to look at doing a bit of raiding, I imagine. He's pretty fearsome on his Egyptians. Chasha fallen a little bit behind, but he's still got plenty in production. Not doing too badly. He's managing to spend quite well, while these guys building up a bit of a bank over him, but they're not really leveraging it into anything. And paradoxically enough, they'd actually have probably a lower score relative to him if they didn't have such a big bank. Particularly Panna, look at that gold and that wood. But in saying that, I suppose if Panna is going to throw down that H3 temple, oh no, he's going to double market first. I was going to say, if he was going for the H3 temple, the temple is set. Sort of excuse having such a big gold bank, because then he could be looking to dump it into his champion upgrades in Age 3, like Axeman Champion and Camel Champion. So, oh, missed a bit of a raid going on down here, or an attempt at one at least. So, Pharos, having repelled Panagiotis, sorry. I'm a bit rusty in my 2v2 casting, there's a lot going on. So, he's looking at doing a bit of a pincer attack here. He can try and wage a bit of a cost-effective fight, considering there's just not a lot of units here yet. While these other camels just sort of prove to be a bit of a pest and force Pharos to have to bring some other stuff back to defend there. But now there's too many spearmen and there is horsemen joining the mix, so these camels aren't going to be able to trade terribly well. Panna's going to have to pull them away. Try and get some of his Axemen in and fit champion upgrade in here. There's Age 3. I don't know if he's got it on the way yet. He hasn't really got the food. And he's got shitloads of gold. A little bit too much gold, really. I mean, a nice bank of 700 to 900 gold is probably the way to go heading into Age 3, but when you got this much, you really got to start putting it towards food. And now Pharos is cleaning up a couple of Pana's units, just streaming across the field. Bit of a missed rally there. So, game video, Cha-Cha haven't really had a fight at all yet. Scout's taken a bit of a hit, but otherwise, game video is actually going to look at putting a bit of pressure on Pana here, which could really upset the balance because now Cha-Cha hasn't really looked at pressuring either player on the top side. Well, now Pana having taken a bit of a beating from both Pharos and game video. But in saying that, it's only a couple of villager kills. EK count got 55 and 48 workers versus 45 and 58. So things aren't too different at the moment. And it looks as though Pana's going to try attempting the first clear of this lookout tower, but he hasn't got quite enough, while Pharos has a nice scary army here. And Pana H3, because he's got that Templar set down. He's getting Axeman Champion, and he doesn't have Camel Champ in queue just yet. He must have spent a bit of his gold on getting food and wood, I think, because he doesn't seem to have spent a huge amount on upgrades, but which would have been his big gold dump. At the same time, he's got a lot of eco stuff in production. Double caravan, so he'll be pulling ahead from that. 65 villagers now. He's leapt ahead of game video now. Impressive stuff there, Pana. Crazy good greed. Holding out well. And Cha-Cha, for the time being, just building up a little force here. Has actually got some chariots in his age 3. Upgrades in queue there, well, nicely done. Both Camel and Axe Chariot, Camel and Axe Champion finishing off, and some chariots joining the army, so it's going to prove to be a bit of a threat here. Game video has got his age 3, but he really has only got Prodromos to benefit for that. Hasn't got Hypaspis Champion, so I think if Cha-Cha wants to hit, he could do it right now. At the same time, Cha-Cha's looking at actually trying to help Pana, because he knows something's going to go down. Pharos is looking at engaging the Rhapsody. I don't know if it's going to get a convert off there. Bit of a tight choke here, and Pharos has got the one Norse composition that might actually fight reasonably well in a choke like this, when you've got chariots from 2 sets of Egyptian players. So game video is going to use the opportunity to get lookout tower. Pharos having already taken this one, but now Panagiotis is going to get his villagers out of it, and it looks as though he might give Cha-Cha the chance to do the same. Both these players might want to look at putting a bit of pressure on Pharos right now, because game video is going to want to move out eventually, and these guys have nothing at home. But Cha-Cha getting those villagers out of the lookout tower, so it's a little feature of this map that's a bit unique to it. Pharos having taken a nice little engagement on the choke here. He doesn't really have the units to spread around his opponent, but at the same time this is bunching up all these axemen to just rain down fire and not get off as much area damage as they otherwise could. The game video is going to have to respond and try and encircle this big push from the double Egyptian composition. The Greek player has the comp to do so now, I think, even though he doesn't have any Toxotes. I think if game video can get his Saris onto the chariots, he can really whittle down Panagiotis' army to leave Pharos' moment to really engage all this infantry from Cha-Cha, who he's going to have to back out in the end anyway, because Pharos is still streaming units in like a beast. And Pana and Cha-Cha at the moment just can't quite afford to keep replenishing their armies behind this, so they're struggling a little bit economically, even without any great pressure on them at the moment. Like Cha-Cha can really do all these villages on that gold mine, maybe even take another, or start getting a market as Panagiotis has done. It's really helping him boom ahead at the others at the moment. Top on the scoreboard. Might be the right depth. Scary army here from Pharos, who's got all of his age 2 upgrades now. Panagiotis having not got any armory upgrades at the moment. So where are these caravans are going to? Oh, that second town centre. So that's 300 gold per trip. That's an awful lot. Pharos looking to creep up with the forts. And Norse, being Norse, are the only ones with the infantry building, so it's not going to set him back economically doing so, as much as it would the others. Game Video really banking it for the time being. He's up to 85 Vils, Panna 89, 79 for Chacha, and 80 for Pharos. So pretty even in terms of our Vil counts. The Game Video really has banked up so much food. Great ecotech usage. I think he's just leading the others over the ecotechs, and now it's starting to show, because particularly once you get past like this 50-60 Vil mark, your eco upgrades are worth so much. Like when you're at 30-20 Vils, they don't really matter anywhere near as much because you're not gathering as much. It's not paying the upgrade off in minutes and then paying multiples of it off over the next 5. Well, Game Video taking an engagement right as all his damage upgrades kick in, so this is great for him and going to be deadly for Chacha at the moment, who's trying to help with Panagiotis' engagements over here against Game Video, but for the time being there's a bit of a lull in play, so he's going to have to bring everything back. And I really think now the north side are starting to get in control here, because Chacha doesn't have a lot to defend this, and Game Video can look at sniping a lot of his base. There is some units here, and Panna is going to try and get a pick off with the chariots on the camels. But this means, Pharos is going to be free to push into Panna. He does have that wall and plenty of forts here though, so he is well set up to at least hold this off briefly. But Panna needs to make up his mind whether he wants to engage here or bring everything back, but he probably, now that he's this far over, he probably should just engage and then just train up more units to defend here, I think. Maybe even just delete the siege tower just to free up some pop space, considering he's got the resources in the bank at the moment. Pharos in the meanwhile gonna try and work on these fortresses. Panna's doing a good job at getting them up around the map and getting some units to also be ready in defense, while Game Video trying to hold out against the double Egypt push, and he's doing well for now. Chacha's actually managed to force Game Video off this gold mine. Chacha really needs to look at getting markets though, because right now he's struggling economically compared to the others. He hasn't got a lot in the bank and he's falling behind on upgrades. Pharos is looking at pushing into Panagiotis at the moment, who's maxed out but needs to rally everything into a spot to try and take the fights he wants. He's trying to engage on both sides, and Pharos is going to have to work here in this fight as well and not overextend against the chariots. But he is going to add in the war dogs behind this, because this is going to be what really gives him the capacity to take a solid fight on even upgrades. The camels are now, the chariots still now are just getting plenty of frontline kills. Bowmen are continuing to chase under the town centre. Game Video and Chacha looking to engage as well. Oh, plenty of slingers here in the mix. While Chacha's here, Game Video can look at pushing in. But man, those slingers They're a great anti-ranged unit, but they're just a bit flat against anything else. They are going to get a lot of value here in this fight, but Pharos is in a good spot to just switch to Ulf's, Zerx. He's got his age 4, and so does Game Video behind this. Whereas our Southside players are still stuck in age 3. So even though the slingers, there's such a good number of them, unless they're actually focusing down ranged units, they don't deal a lot of damage. They're only going to deal like 10 DPS. They've got a great multiplier, but they've just got crappy flat damage compared to just about everything else. Anti-ranged units just in general. Well, anti-ranged range units just in general are sort of just generally the worst unit at trading in neutral fights. And particularly because they are a ranged unit, ranged units just deal damage. Oh well, that's the purpose. Yeah. Whereas something like, say, Sparabara, who are a tank, can get away with tank stats. So this fight here for Cha-Cha, I think it's not going to go great with Lee for him, because especially once those ballistas start ramping up, it hurts having a lot of small ranged units. Pharos pushing out against Panna at the moment. Game Video with stacks in the bank. Plenty of priests here to heal his army. Really nifty, and they might actually get some chariot converts if microed. Well, Pharos' army, he's got that late game Norse composition. Ulf, Zerx, Bowman and Horseman. You get champion on the Horseman, but he's got champ on the bows already. This is going to be really scary for Panna to deal with because he hasn't got any war allies. He's basically just got chariots. He's got a handful of axemen as well, but he probably needs to add towers and add some war elephants, maybe add some more camels. No chariot champion at the moment, which is really hurting because that infantry switch from Pharos is going to prove to be deadly, I think. Oh, Cha-Cha still trying to hold on, but GG, Panna's calling. Cha-Cha's losing his initial town center. He's going to get that fortress, but without a teammate and without a town center, it's going to be an uphill battle for him. Caravan's not going to be able to get the value they once were. They're all going to start stacking up, and Cha-Cha's going to have to try and find a spot to rally them to, but Pharos is talking about needing to take fights and just melting to the ranged army. Yeah, well played, guys. It was a nice 2v2 on Bandit Hideout, so one of our new maps in the 2022 map pack number 1.